last 3 days, we've had not only the longest World Series game in history, but we've also been treated to the
30-20. A John Hall field goal got him within 7. Then enter Wayne, as in Quebec. 24 yards, and we're tied at 30. Miami went up 7 before the big play, the jumbo play, if you will. Jumbo Elliott turns receiver. We're going to OT, tied at 37.
Now, I scored a touchdown in Pee Wee football running the ball. I was a halfback, but other than that, I've never caught a pass.
And here's how this fable ends. A 40-yard field goal from John Hall in overtime, and it's a story for the ages, even if most of us didn't see it.
After taking a huge early lead, the Jets roared back and won the game.
What a finish. The final, Jets 40, Dolphins 37.
You know, this team is, I've said it over and over again, it's just mentally tough, you know.
On the verge of being really embarrassed, you know, playing for first place. This might be one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen, being a fan.
With the Miracle Workers, Steve Bartlestein, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
And we're still awake, alive, and growing. We're going to have more on the Jets and more on the Mets and more on the Yankees as the World Subway Series continues live here at Shea. For now, I'm Scott Clark, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. And folks, back in the studio, I don't know, every day is a great day to be a New Yorker, but this is something special, don't you think?
Certainly agree with that, Scott. It has been an amazing few days, and it will continue. Our news continues now. Other things happening today. There's been a major development in a police shooting on the New Jersey Turnpike, which turned the spotlight on racial profiling. This afternoon, prosecutors dropped the most serious charges against one of the state troopers involved. David Ushery now, live in the newsroom with the late-breaking details for us. David.
Rob, indeed, it broke late this afternoon, and this is a big development, though not completely unexpected. State prosecutors had already indicated they were considering a change in the charges after talking to 2 witnesses who surfaced almost 2 years after the original indictment. So prosecutors now have dropped the attempted murder charge against Trooper John Hogan, citing a lack of evidence. Hogan and Trooper James Kenna are facing several charges for the April 1998 New Jersey Turnpike shooting. They claim they stopped a van carrying 3 unarmed minority men for speeding, then shot the men in self-defense when the van backed towards them. The case became a lightning rod for racial profiling, but prosecutors say the witnesses provided accounts that cleared Hogan of the most serious charge. Now, Trooper Hogan is still charged with aggravated assault and official misconduct. Kenna is facing all of the charges, including attempted murder. Some of the African-American leaders we spoke to this afternoon are not happy with the decision, as you can imagine, and they are very critical of the State Attorney General's office, which is prosecuting the case. Obviously, the story still developing, and we're going to continue to follow it for you. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, David. In Union Township, the search is on for a gunman who shot 2 customers in a candy store. It began when the man asked to buy a candy bar, and it ended in deadly gunfire. NJ Burkett is live in Elizabeth with the disturbing details. NJ.
Roz, the county prosecutor's office, Elizabeth, New Jersey, where investigators say they now believe that yesterday's shooting in Union, New Jersey, was probably a botched robbery attempt. Tonight, the suspect remains at large, armed and, of course, extremely dangerous.
Just an ordinary guy coming in. Must have had a problem in his mind somewhere. Just bent on killing people.
Craig Willis is still so shaken he can barely speak. It happened at 3:30 yesterday afternoon in this small candy store in Union, New Jersey, where a young man in a dark jacket stood nervously at the cash register.
What did he say to you?
He said, "How much to the Butterfingers?" I said 65 cents. And then he walked over towards me. He was reaching in, I thought, for 65 cents or whatever. And the next thing, he shot, a bullet missed me, went through the camera, and he shot Mike, shot Henry. I ran around the back with my gun, and he had gone, ran out the door.
The gunman took off and vanished onto Morris Avenue, leaving one customer dead, another critically wounded. The suspect is roughly 20 years old, described tonight as an African-American man, 5 foot 10 inches tall, 150 to 160 pounds, wearing a black down jacket. In the absence of any other motive, investigators now believe it was a botched robbery attempt by a young man who simply panicked.
That's what we're pursuing at this time, is a robbery down there.
Detectives say the suspect had been casing other businesses on Morris Avenue, where shopkeepers taped wanted posters in their storefronts. Tonight, Craig Willis just wants an arrest.
If he wanted candy, I would have gave it to him for nothing. It wasn't a matter of, I don't think he wanted to rob anybody. Maybe he has a problem mentally. Well, who knows?
Customer who was killed is identified tonight as Henry Dahlmeyer. The wounded customer, identified as Michael Gorka, listed in critical but stable condition at University Hospital in Newark, New Jersey. Anybody with information about this case is urged tonight to call the Union Police. Live tonight at the Union County Prosecutor's Office, Elizabeth, New Jersey. N.J. Burkett, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
NJ, police near Phoenix say an armed standoff in an elementary school is over and no one was hurt. Police say a boy who'd been holed up in a classroom with a teacher surrendered. The boy is believed to have been armed with a 9mm handgun. Officers say he took a teacher and 2 other students hostage. Police are not sure how that situation began.
Overseas now, less than 2 weeks after the attack on the USS Cole, American troops in Turkey and 2 Persian Gulf countries are in the highest state of alert against terrorism. New threats described as specific and credible by the Pentagon sparked an alert in Bahrain, Qatar, and Turkey. The alert also is aimed at Americans who are traveling in that area. Now, as the Pentagon heightens security in the Persian Gulf, the Eyewitness News investigators have uncovered serious security lapses at several of the nation's naval bases, including some right here in our own backyard. From New York to Connecticut to Virginia, Eyewitness News investigator Jim Hoffer discovered dozens of Navy ships, destroyers, even nuclear-powered submarines vulnerable to attack. Watch tonight's special investigation, Caught Off Guard. It'll be on Eyewitness News coming up right after our broadcast on Eyewitness News at 6.
The verdict is in for a doctor accused of murdering his wife and then dumping her remains from an airplane into the ocean.
And also ahead on Eyewitness News at 5, what caused 2 planes to clip wings on the runway at LaGuardia.
The food police are out with a new look at another ethnic food. We've got the verdict on Greek food this time in a special live report.
Plus, 7's on call with a new procedure that could help people with emphysema breathe a little easier.
Subway Series merchandise is everywhere, but how can you spot a cheap imitation from the real thing? 7 on your side is going to show you as Eyewitness News at 5 continues.
Are now made by New Era.
Recently, America lost brave men and women in the attack on the USS Cole. Before that attack, the Eyewitness News investigators had already been looking into naval port security in our area, and what we found was eye-opening. Lapses in security so great that we could actually row up and touch naval vessels.
No sign of security. No sign of security anywhere.
We invite you to join the investigators Jim Hoffer for an important report. Watch Caught Off Guard tonight at 6 and 11 right here on ABC 7.
The remarkably agile, highly responsive Accord. It could be the smartest choice you'll ever make.
Julie!
Well, almost.
What do you say?
Yes.
The 2001 Accord from Honda.
While you navigate, we shed new light. While you make decisions, we offer more choices. While you wonder, we set your mind at ease. So wherever you are, you're in control. And your health care is as it should be. Simplified. Take care of your mind, your body, your spirit, your health. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Chocolate milk?
Chrysler Concorde. 4-wheel independent suspension and a powerful V6.
I didn't know Davis could move like that.
I told him to think of himself as something powerful and agile.
Buy now and choose less than 1% short-term financing or a $1,500 cash allowance.
They said he wouldn't eat his dinner, so they tortured him until he died. Who would do this to a 3-year-old? The police had a case, so why are these child killers out of prison? Next, Oprah. Tomorrow at 4, right here on ABC 7.
Federal investigators are inspecting 2 aircraft which clipped wings on the runway last night at LaGuardia Airport. Airport officials say the wing of an American Trans airplane clipped the wing of a Delta plane headed for Cincinnati as the 2 were taxiing. No one was injured. The planes are scheduled to be repaired later on today. Westchester County and Greenwich, Connecticut have settled that dispute over a road leading to Westchester County Airport. Wasn't easy. 5 committees were formed before an agreement was hammered out over Gateway Lane. Greenwich agreed to lift restrictions that inconvenience people using the road on their way to the airport, and Westchester agreed to remove signs urging drivers to complain to Greenwich about those restrictions.
Election Day is just 2 weeks away, so in Newark today, U.S. Senate candidates Bob Franks and John Corzine got in one more debate. Marcus Solis was there.
If Bob Franks is smiling, it's because he says his campaign is gaining steam. Today, the Philadelphia Inquirer endorsed the Republican candidate, something Franks says he appreciates but also downplays.
They can be helpful in a close race, and I believe this one will be. But at the end of the day, it's the power of every single voting resident of New Jersey.
With 2 weeks until the election, Franks has begun advertising heavily on television.
Sorry, John. New Jersey ain't buying it.
Though his opponent, John Corzine, has outspent him on that and every other facet of the campaign. Both candidates are running negative ads, though Corzine prefers to call them comparative.
My opponent, I think, has a record that he claims he wants to run on, and I want to make sure that that is properly positioned.
This morning, both men taped an appearance on a public television program where a cross-section of residents got to ask the questions. Tracy Alampi says she was undecided going in, but now may cast her vote for the Democrats.
I think Corzine has a great platform in regard to education. That's what my priority. That's where my priority is right now, because I have 4 children in the public school system.
But Nancy Mueller, also undecided, is now leaning towards Franks, who trails in the polls by 10 points.
He may be able to if he can get his message across. I think he is a polished politician. That's what he's supposed to be.
In hopes of making up ground, Franks will cover a lot of ground. On Friday, he'll embark on a statewide bus tour that will last all the way up to Election Day. Marcus Solis, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
After 2 aborted landings, the Space Shuttle Discovery landed at Edwards Air Force Base in California just minutes ago, ending the historic 100th shuttle mission. On this mission, the astronauts delivered 2 more segments of the International Space Station. The shuttle was supposed to land in Florida, but the landing was scrubbed twice because of high winds there.
2 suspects accused in the Central Park attack following the Puerto Rican Day Parade get the charges dropped.
And also ahead on Eyewitness News, torrential flooding out west forces a dramatic rescue, and it's all captured on tape.
Plus, the hidden dangers parents need to know before dressing up their kids for Halloween.
I'm Lara Spencer, backstage at Glamour Magazine's Women of the Year Awards. Coming up, you'll meet honorees like Julianne Moore, Sharon Stone, and find out what they did to deserve it.
And we're here at 43rd and 5th with a free screening that could save your life, and of course, the AccuWeather forecast. It's all coming up next.
Recently, when the USS Cole was attacked, the Eyewitness News investigators had already been looking into naval port security in our area. What we found was eye-opening.
No sign of security anywhere.
Watch Caught Off Guard tonight at 6 and 11 right here on ABC 7.
They used to say every cloud has a silver lining. Where is that silver lining when you're in debt, your credit rating has suffered? For many of Champion's customers, Clean Slate did more than just wipe out their bills and save them hundreds of dollars a month. It helped to make them stronger than they ever were before. If you're a homeowner in debt, find out how you could turn a difficult situation into a positive new beginning. Call 1-800-CHAMPION today. Doesn't everyone deserve a second chance? When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
From Saratoga to Sag Harbor, and from Buffalo to the Bronx, good news spreads fast across the Empire State. There's still more time to play New York Millennium Millions.
With no winning numbers picked yet for the jackpot, the biggest game New York has ever seen is still growing. It's New York Millennium Millions. The jackpot's now $110 million. Get your new tickets today.
Check it out.
The next generation Chrysler Town and Country.
You do that?
I saw you did. Let's get out of here.
With power sliding doors and liftgate with an obstacle detection system, Chrysler Town & Country is the best minivan ever.
Bob Franks and his special interest supporters. Their negative ads attacking John Corzine are not true. The New York Times calls their latest ad substantially misleading. The Star-Ledger says the cost of John Corzine's proposals are nowhere near Frank's inflated number. John Corzine has worked with real numbers, created jobs and balanced budgets his whole life. He supports a fiscally responsible plan that invests in education and protects Social Security without raising taxes. Corzine for Senate.
Mets, MECS. Go Yankees, go Yankees.
Dimension 5.
Yankees in 4.
Well, I like the Yankees.
Mets. Yankees. Mets.
Yankees!
Hey, there's one thing all New Yorkers can agree on.
I love New York. The Mets. The Yankees. I love New York.
Baseball's just one of the many great things in New York.
Copy a free travel guide today.
Have you seen Amira? ABC7 urges you to protect our children.
Time for weather. Sam Champion is not playing hooky.
No.
Nice enough outside, though, that he's out in Midtown today. Hi, Sam.
It had nothing
Why?
to do with the fact that it was so beautiful. This really is a program that we wanted to tell folks about. We're here on 43rd and 5th, and we're outside the New York County Dental Society with this van behind us for a reason, because for the next 2 days, they're offering free oral cancer screenings. The procedure is very simple. It used to be complicated, but now with a very simple soft brush of the cheek or your gum, they can tell you if you've got oral cancer. If it's detected early, they can cure it. 30,000 Americans are diagnosed with oral cancer every year, and so we thought it was important to tell you about this. This is not the only place for the screening, by the way, over the next 2 days. They will have them near your community in New York and New Jersey. So make sure you call this number to get some information, 877-263-3401. We'll be back in the show to talk about this program again. It'll be at 43rd and 5th for the next 2 days. But right now, what you should know is we're setting up another beautiful couple of days. Some clouds get in the way, and it's 65 degrees outside our doors right now, and our doors just happen to be Midtown today. 52% relative humidity, and the barometer's falling off a bit. With a southwestern wind, we expect a nice feel to the night tonight. High-low split, 66 degrees today, the beautiful high temperature. 50 degrees the way you started earlier this morning. Here's what's going on outside your doors. The other numbers would include most of us about in the same place. 60 degrees for tonight. Game 3 forecast, partly cloudy skies, actually setting up a pretty good situation. Most of the moisture took a dive down to our south overnight tonight. So let's move on to the next graphic, and we'll talk a bit about the weather forecast and give you an idea here. Here you go, 63, 67 degrees across the area. Places like Morristown, coming in Morris County with about 70-degree temperature, much cooler on the island at about 61. I expect the same situation tomorrow. Sky conditions improve tomorrow, though. The idea is with a satellite picture and all the clouds just kind of shoving down to our south, we're in an improved situation tonight for mostly clear skies, where we get into a really beautiful setup tomorrow with no clouds and a good amount of sunshine. Or there may be 1 or 2 clouds mixed in, but you'll notice the sun. 44, 47 degrees, your North Jersey number. Central New Jersey comes in 47, 48 degrees. Here's the idea with the rain. The rain generally missed us today. So taking the dive as we put it in motion, just hit me one click on that button there. It'll put this picture in motion. All that rain drops down to the south through West Virginia. And watch how it leaves even New Jersey dry. So dry skies tonight, dry skies tomorrow, and we really run that way on into the weekend. When we come back with a 5-day, we've got 1 or 2 issues for the 5-day that we need to talk about. But here's your AccuWeather forecast, and for tonight and the game and any of your plans, it's beautiful. Partly cloudy skies, 54 degrees. And for tomorrow, I think we've got a beautiful day, 68 degrees, which is 2 degrees warmer than it was today. Mostly clear skies at 54 degrees, and remember, you can get your free oral cancer screening right here on 43rd and 5th for the next 2 days, and in your community. There'll be other sites. We'll go over that number again, and we'll talk about it when we come back with the 5-day. Rob?
All righty. Thank you, sir. We don't have to tell you that there's an awful lot of merchandise associated with the Subway World Series, and it's almost everywhere. But how can you tell the real stuff from cheap imitations?
7 on your side's Taffy Phillips is here with details, so you don't get taken.
Absolutely, and tonight we have a consumer alert for Subway Series fans. Those hats and shirts you're buying may be cheap knockoffs that will fall apart. How can you tell whether merchandise is a fake or the real McCoy? 7 on your side has the answers.
Go Yankees!
It's Subway Series merchandise madness.
Hats, shirts, anything with a Mets or Yankees logo on it is being snatched up by fanatic fans.
So I got the shirt, my bag.
But now baseball officials are warning fans to beware of shoddily made fakes.
You got yourself a counterfeit product.
Ethan Orlinsky is general counsel for Major League Properties, the licensing arm of Major League Baseball. Since the series began, he's helped confiscate hundreds of thousands of dollars in counterfeit merchandise.
On the criminal side, when the local law enforcement officials lock these people up, they could serve jail time if they're prosecuted.
But Ethan says consumers also lose out because the fakes are low quality.
If you look at this product, you could see this is a very imprecise depiction of the Mets logo.
So how can you foil a fraud and spot a counterfeit?
First of all, look for the hologram.
Each official shirt and hat will have this special hologram with the World Series logo. And look for small trademark designations under all logos.
You would see a TM or a circle R by both of those.
And be on the lookout for shirts with the label cut. They're actually factory rejects called seconds.
That means they've been rejected by the companies who are producing them. So quite frankly, it's really at your own peril when you buy one of these.
And if there's something wrong, you can't take it back.
It's buyer beware.
That's true. Major League Baseball tells us they also have other ways to spot fakes, but they won't tell us what they are. They say counterfeiters always seem to find ways to copy them, so they're going to keep some of their tip-offs a secret.
Good idea. Watch for that hologram, though.
Yes, indeed. That's the thing.
Thanks, Tap. A 15-year-old murder mystery that has made national headlines comes to a dramatic end. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 5:30, a plastic surgeon charged with killing his wife learns his fate even though there is no body.
How to overcome overcrowding. We'll show you one local school's success story.
It is a delicious food that goes back for generations. So why is the food police saying it's time to put it down?
A new study says that surgery for one type of chronic lung disease may give some patients hope. I'm Dr. Jay Adlersberg. I'll have that story coming up.
We're 2 months from the last Christmas shopping day, so tomorrow morning at 5, we'll see what the top toys on the shelf will be.
That's right. Joe Nolan and John Del Giorno team up to help you get to work without the headaches. Watch Eyewitness News this morning, tomorrow morning, right here on ABC 7.
Our children are really important to us, so we took them into consideration when we were looking for a car. The Elantra offers plenty of safety features. Airbags,
power windows, power locks, power brakes. Peace of mind with the Hyundai was a big factor.
the warranty's the best in America.
There's nothing that really compares to it out in the marketplace right now. It's a great family vehicle.
Get as low as 3.9% APR financing on the Elantra at your Hyundai dealer now.
John Corzine, a big spending political novice, says the New York Times, with impossibly expensive proposals, says the Star Ledger. What's Big John say? Millions more for negative ads distorting Congressman Frank's record. Sorry, John, New Jersey ain't buying it.
New Yorkers come from everywhere. The best people from all over the country in every walk of life gravitate towards New York. We've produced the leaders that have articulated a vision for America of a community of all kinds of different people who go together because we share a value. It is against everything we stand for as a state to say that you can't participate in public life in this state because you weren't born here. We should be proud in our state that we've gotten somebody of the quality and the timber and the character of Hillary Clinton.
And folks, we've reached the halfway point of our transatlantic flight to Chicago.
Got a lot of international calls to make? Get great rates from home with AT&T's international plan. All day, every day, call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
I love it when the days start getting a little shorter and the nights a little cooler. The change of season always invigorates me and starts me thinking about the holidays. We like to get our boots and jackets on and go picking apples and pumpkins. They just don't get any fresher or better than that.
Apples, cranberries, pumpkins, winter vegetables. A Jersey Fresh fall harvest is ready for you right now.
Pick the best, Jersey Fresh.
So, I was ready for the worst, hoping for the best, and stunned.
That was just part of the reaction from the family of Gail Birnbaum following the guilty verdict against plastic surgeon Robert Birnbaum. The 15-year-old murder case came to a close in a Manhattan court this morning. Birnbaum could get 25 years to life.
Gail Katz Birnbaum vanished in July of 1985. Prosecutors charged that her husband killed her in their East Side apartment and then dumped her body out of his plane into the ocean. Cheryl Fiandaca was in court when the guilty verdict was read.
It was a long time coming, but Gail Katz Birnbaum's brother and sister say her husband will finally face life in prison for her murder.
I was prepared for the worst. I was scared. It's very hard to come in with a beyond a reasonable doubt guilty verdict on purely circumstantial evidence. I was scared.
To finally see the handcuffs go on his wrists, to finally see him walk into a jail cell, the feelings are undescribable. To see him finally face what he did.
Dr. Robert Birnbaum showed no emotion as the guilty verdict was read. His new wife, who had been by his side during the entire 3-week trial, wished her husband good luck and left the courthouse before the verdict was announced. Birnbaum, a plastic surgeon, was on trial for the murder of his first wife, Gail. Prosecutors say she disappeared on July 7, 1985, and believe Birnbaum tossed her dismembered body from a rented plane. She has never been found. Defense attorneys say the circumstantial case will be appealed.
We believe that we presented a case that showed that these were ideas or theories rather than what really happened. And that was our position at trial, and that's, given the jury's verdict, that's in fact still our position.
While the appeal is pending, Birnbaum will remain in prison. Birnbaum is scheduled to be sentenced on November 20th. He faces up to 25 years to life in prison. In Lower Manhattan, I'm Cheryl Fiandaca, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Prosecutors have dismissed charges against 2 of the men indicted in the Central Park attacks following the Puerto Rican Day Parade. David Rowe and Tremaine Bain have always maintained their innocence. Prosecutors say after an extensive review of the evidence, they cannot prove that those 2 men were among the attackers last June. 33 men were arrested in the attacks. In Queens, police say they have arrested a man who had a cache of guns and ammunition in his apartment. An anonymous tip led police to Stephen McFadden's Elmhurst apartment, where they found 16 rifles, 18 handguns, about 8,000 rounds of ammunition, and a large amount of white supremacist literature. McFadden is charged with criminal possession of a weapon and criminal sale of a firearm.
Overcrowding is a persistent problem plaguing New York City schools. The Board of Education is looking into year-round schools as one way to ease students' frustrations. And as part of our ongoing look at this issue, our education reporter Celeste Ford joins us now with the story of one school that's beating the odds. Celeste.
Rob, Benjamin Cardozo High School in Northeast Queens is about as suburban a high school as you can find in the city. Yet it still has all the urban problems, especially overcrowding. Remarkably, it's long been one of the very best high schools. Today we found out why. Cardozo High School is so crowded, the state granted it a temporary waiver allowing students to take 6 classes per day instead of the mandatory 7. Even with the exemption, the school must open early and close late to accommodate everyone's schedule. It's a logistical feat for the 9 guidance counselors.
We see every student at least twice a year to program them. We see them individually to program them.
She's talking about individual attention. It's a priority, even in a school with 4,200 students.
They send you letters if you're not doing well, and they call you if you're absent, if you're cutting. So you have no way of, doing bad.
Many of the students are from middle-class families with the time and resources to back up the school and its high expectations. To graduate, Cardozo requires an extra year of math, science, and foreign language. Plus, seniors are required to write a thesis, which takes 4 months to complete.
It's saying, you're going to do this, we expect it of you, and this is how we are going to help you do.
And Cardozo cultivates a sense of belonging. 60% of the students are either members of a club or a sports team. Others are drawn to the niche programs, including art, also a math and science institute. This special class is taught by a medical doctor.
In my class, I kind of make a team approach with me, the student, and the family, so we're always in contact, and the family knows and they're aware what their children are doing in my class at all times.
As we mentioned earlier, to alleviate overcrowding, the Board of Education is considering a program that would allow new high schools to operate on a year-round schedule. Today, we found little enthusiasm for such a plan, perhaps because Cardozo is succeeding despite the overcrowding. Roz?
Thank you, Celeste. With just 2 weeks to go before the presidential election, Al Gore and George Bush are turning up the heat. In Little Rock today, Gore promised to reduce in Little Rock today, Gore outlined a new plan that he said that would make government smaller and smarter. He promised to reduce the size of government to its lowest in 50 years, and he claimed Bush would turn the government over to special interests. In Chicago, Bush ridiculed Gore's tax relief plan, calling it unnecessarily complex. The Texas governor was also asked about President Clinton's campaigning for Gore, but he declined to answer, saying he is running against Al Gore, not Bill Clinton.
More gunfire and deaths in the Mideast today as both the Israelis and Palestinians brace for the long haul. One Palestinian man was killed during today's clashes. The Israeli military says it's hunkering down for a drawn-out conflict. Meanwhile, Ehud Barak continued negotiating with the right-wing Likud party leader, Ariel Sharon. Barak needs the party's support, but in exchange, Sharon wants a big say in future peace negotiations, and the Palestinians say that would mean the end of the peace process.
Well, the food police are out with new facts on a favorite ethnic cuisine. Still ahead on Eyewitness News. How do gyros and other Greek foods compare with the likes of American fast foods? The answer is next.
Are there hidden dangers in your child's favorite Halloween costume? We're going to show you some safety tricks to keep this season a real treat.
And then the stars turn out to give thanks to some very special women whose real-life roles are paving the way to the future.
Recently, when the USS Cole was attacked, the Eyewitness News investigators had already been looking into naval port security in our area. What we found was eye-opening.
No sign of security anywhere.
Watch Caught Off Guard tonight at 6 and 11 right here on ABC 7.
Mary Ann Connolly voted to